Hello fans out there. I want to show us how to make this senator design, both the pocket and the placket design. Hemming gum, and these are the already folded and gummed 1-inch materials, and this is pocket, the pocket with which we're doing the design. Okay, I'm slicing the hemming gum into 3 parts just to fit and gum the materials we're using for the design, so as to make them stay firmly on the pocket before we bring out the design we want. Okay, you can see I've placed the three long materials on them. Then we are giving them a good ironing so that they can stay put. Oh, sorry for that mistake. That was not a good one. Okay, so you trim off the excesses. You trim off the excesses so that when you're folding, the underneath will not be too thick, depending on the kind of machine you're using. Okay, now we are on the sewing machine. You fold the middle part of those materials and just give it a top stitch for the 3 of them. Just the middle part for the 3 of them. We've done the first one. You cut out the threadings neatly, go to the second one, fold and give a top stitch. Just make a top stitch over there. Alright, and then you cut neatly. You cut off the threads neatly. And now we move to the third one. You give another top stitch just to make the material firm on the pocket. Alright, now we have done that. The next thing to do now is to take it to the ironing table. But before that, let's hold the top of these 3 materials, these 3 designs, on the pocket material, the one we are folding inside the pocket, so that there won't be any pull at any time at all. Okay, so we go to the ironing table. You can see how it looks. Yes, you fold in with your hemming gum. I've already add an hemming gum to that part. That's why it's gumming that way. Okay, you fold the sides. You have the measurement already on your gum stay. Fold the sides. Now you fold the underneath. The design of your gum stay will determine, the design you put on your gum stay determines what you get out of it. Alright, you see we've given it a good ironing. Now this is what you get from this. Now we go to the placket. Go to the placket. If this has been helpful, click on the subscribe button. And just give us a thumbs up, and just to help our videos and to help us continue to give you good tutorial on this. Yes, these are plackets. We've placed our hemming gum in it, and we have, you can see we already have a long material for the design, the same length with the placket, which is 16 inches long. So you cut the hemming gum into 2 parts, put one at the top, put one below, trim it a little so that it won't be fusing out of the placket, so as not to gum your iron as well. So now you gum it neatly on the placket you've already folded. It's still to get that same design we have on our pocket. Alright, you fold it down at the down part, put in the gum stay so as to hold it firmly beneath and to make it easy for you to sew on your dress. Now this is what we have. We go to our sewing machine and then we fold the middle part, that part where we did not use gum stay, hemming gum rather. That part we did not use our hemming gum. Okay, so you fold it and then you give it a top stitch just like we did on the pocket. All right, now after this you give it a good ironing. That's the only stitching you put in for now until you get to your dress. All right, yes, so you can see what we have there. Very lovely, very beautiful. Now we go to our dress. You have to give the front panel of your senator top a 7-inch slit from the top, from the middle of the neck, yes, so that you can fix in your inner placket and then put in the outer placket, which is the designed placket. This is the inner placket. You sew it till you get to this point, yes, so that you can give it a notch for it to be easy to fold out and then sew on. So you begin to sew this. Yeah, the material is a little bit challenging. You cut off your threadings neatly. When you cut your thread neatly, you get a good result at the end because you don't have to start cutting thread here and there, and you don't have thread shooting out from every point. Please, if you have not subscribed to our channel, do well to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button to help us continue giving you this tutorial once and again. All right, so when you stitch this, I believe you're seeing everything we're doing here. When you still stitch to this point, then you cut off the excess. You cut off the excess so as to, yeah, oh, that wasn't visible. I've cut off the excess from it. Now you give that a good ironing just for it to stay firm on the cloth. Okay, we are cutting off the excess part of the placket, the underneath part of the placket, which is excess. Just leave like 1/4 inch out, which you use in sewing it. Okay, if you measure this placket now, you'll see that we have exactly 16 inches. Exactly 16 inches. So your placket for an adult should be exactly 16 inches. Now the placket is dependent, the length of the placket is dependent on who you are sewing for, whether a baby or an adult or a teenager, whoever, it depends. Their height determines the length of their plackets. Now you turn the front panel towards the back and then you start sewing your plackets, fixing your placket from the back. So to that point where you sewed earlier before you gave a notch. Yes, before you gave a notch. Now we have to give another notch here after cutting the thread. We have to give another notch so that we can easily bring the placket to the front of the cloth. All right, we've turned it to the front of the cloth. Now all we have to do here is to stitch on the 1-inch long placket that we have we've gummed on our placket. That's 1-inch long design that we've gummed on our placket, which we used in doing that design. That's what we are stitching on, not on the placket itself, but as you're stitching on that design, you're stitching on the placket at the same time. So you can see what we are doing. So you fall into the placket from that point where you have a folding. You fall into the main placket and then continue stitching till you enter the design again. Yes, as you can see, we're falling into the placket and we are coming back into the design. So you stitch it to the beneath. Make sure you're following that line you have on your front panel. That line makes it safer for you to have your placket on the right part of the front panel of the cloth. All right, so Yeah, we're almost done with this design. After fixing this, then we go to our pockets. We fix our pockets on the front panel of our senator dress. Okay, stitching the front part, the top part of it. We have to move the inner placket away so that we won't sew the outer placket on the inner placket. Stitching them together so as to get the end point. So as to get the end point for our stitching. Yes, yeah, I love stitching slant at this point. I love sewing it in a slant way. Some sew straight. I just love sewing it slant. It depends on how you want it. There is no rule that it has to be straight or slant, but I just love making it slant. If you have not still subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button and like and share. Share to those who you believe will need this video. Okay, now this is our pocket. You make sure that from the midpoint of your placket, you have about 2 to 2¼ inches. From your midpoint to where you're starting your pocket from, make sure you're having about 2 or 2¼ inches distance. So we begin to sew our pocket. Just sew gently, you don't have to rush. When you sew gently, you get a good result. So arrange your clothes properly, arrange your materials before you sew. Make sure you arrange them properly so that you arrive at a good result. I hope you are seeing this. Yes, arrange it so that there won't be any folding at all. Folding